They taught us that no one who loves the way of grace ever comes to a bad end. I will be true to you, whatever comes.
This is not metaphor layered over reality. It is biology stated plainly. Life feeds on life. The mechanism of existence requires the destruction of other existence to sustain itself. Evolution has no blueprint. It has no executive, no vision, no concept of the flourishing it is supposedly driving toward. It is a headless mechanism selecting for whatever survives long enough to replicate, not for whatever deserves to survive, not for whatever would choose to survive if given the option. The selection pressure is brutality. The currency is death. What persists is what was most ruthless in its particular context. That is the mechanism. That is all there is. Green Earth is a Holocaust factory. To fetishize nature, to hold it up as something pristine, to speak of returning to it as if it represents an Eden before human corruption, is to perform a studied ignorance of what nature actually is and what it actually does to everything that lives within it. The aesthetic appeal of forests and coastlines does not neutralize the operational reality of what those forests and coastlines do to the organisms that inhabit them every second of every day. This is not nihilism. This is natural history. The horror is documented. It is not a matter of interpretation. War, systematized at industrial scale. Genocide, organized into bureaucracy. The sexual exploitation of children, institutionalized at every stratum of every society that has ever existed. The slow torture of animals for pleasure and for profit. The manufacture of new and increasingly efficient methods of mass destruction. The active suppression of any movement that attempted to hold any of this accountable. This is not the exception. This is the pattern. The child who is tortured today is tortured just as completely as the child who was tortured in any previous century. Their nervous system does not receive the benefit of historical progress. The person who performs moderate decency, who does not personally harm, who maintains a functional kindness in their immediate social sphere, while the architecture of cruelty continues to function around them, enabled by their participation in the system that sustains it, is not a good person. They are a passive collaborator. Their comfort is subsidized by the suffering of those who did not get to choose comfort. Their gratitude for their relative good fortune is, at some level, gratitude that someone else received the worst of it instead of them. If there is a God observing this, observing the rape of children, the slow devouring of lambs, the generational punishment of the innocent, the systematic suffering of those who never chose to arrive, then this God is one of three things: absent, indifferent, or sadistic. The effect of all three is identical. The prayer is not answered. The child is not spared. The system continues. If what is called free will requires the rape of a child to exist, if the perpetrator's choice to violate is more sacred in the divine calculus than the child's right to be left unviolated, then the entity upholding that calculus is not a God worth the word. The optimist is not the enemy, not primarily. The enemy is the optimist who has seen the horror and continues to insist that the ledger balances. The one who has looked directly at the suffering of children, of animals, of the structurally dispossessed, and has concluded that it is, on net, worth it. That is not hope. That is willful arithmetic corruption. It is the decision to weight pleasure heavily and suffering lightly, because weighting it any other way would require a conclusion one is not prepared to reach. And the conclusion they are not prepared to reach is this: if what you love depends for its existence on what you cannot justify, then what you love is built on what you cannot justify. The art, the music, the connection, the beauty, they emerge from the same system that produces the torture. They are not separable from it. They are its byproducts, its consolation prizes, its advertisements. Hope in this light is not a virtue. It is the mechanism by which the machine sustains itself.
Was any actual sexual relation between you and this female child?
Yes.
How old was the child?
Only 11.
11? 11 years old. And how did you feel about that you commit such crime?
I didn't feel good about it.
Do you have any conscious experience or any recollection about the time? What did you have in your mind when you involved to this crime? You remember, or you been drunk, or you've been under drug, or you've been intoxicated, or
I was drinking.
you were drinking? What did you drink?
Whiskey.
Whiskey. Did you meet this child and this girl on the street?
Yeah, she was.
This girl is a very well developed girl. Looks a few older than her age. 11 years, no? It could be a quite immature child, huh? A young girl. You have these experiences or these practices before, or this is just the first time?
No, I had it before.
We had this crime. You did commit this crime before, or similar? You have been recorded for similar charges before, huh?
No, I never been caught before.
Never been caught, but you have been in practice in this way that you abused a young child, huh?
Even my own daughter.
Even your own daughter. Now, how you feel about it? You do things like that. How did your wife feel? How did your wife feel about it?
My wife said something wrong.
It must have been.
Myself, I just assumed, the way I am right now, if I didn't have to stay like this, I just assumed go to jail and stay there.